आचार्य।
ओम नमः शिवाय।
नमः शिवाय आचार्य जी।
ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता
आचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
वन्दे
गुरुपरम्परा।
गुरुपरम्परा। ॐ
ॐ सहना भवतु
सहनाववतु
सहनौ भुनक्तु सह
सह
वीर्यम्
वीर्यं
करवावहै
करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु
विद्विषावहै।
वहै
शान्ति शान्ति
शान्ति
शान्तिः।
शान्तिः।
Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya, good morning.
नमः शिवाय गुरुजी।
शिवाय।
So we had completed the 13th verse of the 18th chapter, and we are on the 14th verse, which we will chant. Shri Bhagavan
श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Adhishthanam Tatha Karta
अधिष्ठानं
अधिष्ठानं
तथा
तथा कर्ता
कर्ता
Karanam Cha Prathakvidam
करणं
करणं
च
च
पृथग्विधम्
पृथग्विधम्
Vividascha Pratak Cheshta
विविधाश्च
विविधाश्च
पृथक्
पृथक्
चेष्टा
चेष्टा
Evam Chaivatra Panchamam.
दैवं
दैवं
चैवात्र
पञ्चमम्।
पञ्चमम्।
Okay. So look at the words. Adhishthanam tatha karta. Adhishthanam is the substratum of the karta. It's the body. So Adhishthanam is body. Tatha karta. Karta is the one who does the karma. Karanam prithag vidam. Various karanams, various instruments. And vividaha prithak cheshthaha. Various distinct activities. And Eva Daivam, all the presiding deities, Panchavam Atra. So there are five things: Adhisthana, Karta, instruments, activities, and Panchamam Atra, the fifth one, Daivam, the presiding deities. Okay. So Adhishthanam, Shankara says, is the very basis for the manifestation. Adhisthana means Annamaya Koshaha. So Shankara very clearly says Adhisthana means Shariram, means Annamaya Koshaha. It is the very basis, the locus of the manifestation of emotions like Raga, Dvesha, Sukham, Dukkham, and Jnanam. Remember, this is all Vritti Jnanam, not Swarupa Jnanam. All these are all thoughts. So Shankara is saying that Adhishthanam is the locus where all the thoughts are manifested. And where here, of course, Sukham. Sukham is also there. Sukham is Pratibimba Ananda, not Swarupa Ananda. And therefore, we should know that these Raga, Dvesha, Sukham, Dukkham, Jnanam, all these things, they are the attributes of not the Sthula Shariram, right? When he says Annamaya Kosha, you have to very carefully understand that these thoughts are not based in the Annamaya Kosha. Where are the thoughts based?
मनोमय
मनोमय कोश।
So in the Sukshma Shariram,
सूक्ष्म
right?
शरीरम्।
Then why does Shankara say that there is Annamaya Kosha?
They manifest.
They manifest. Abhivyaktaha. So the locus of manifestation is the Annamaya Kosha, is the physical body. And remember that even though all these attributes of thoughts, etc., emotions, etc., they belong to Sukshma Shariram, they can manifest only when Sthula Shariram is available. Right? That is why after the death, after the death of the physical body, the Sukshma Shariram survives along with the Karma Shariram. And therefore the Jiva survives. Even the Jiva is not having a physical body. And therefore, all the raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, all of them survive. But they are not capable of manifestation until he gets another physical body. Right? Therefore, there is a very moot point here. Your people talking about the departed ancestors coming and talking to them, giving them advice, you talking to them. There is no shastric basis for such things, which everybody may not like. But Shastra says, without these Sthula Shariram, nobody can talk. Right? So there is no basis for all these ideas you see in lots of textbooks, including, your guru coming in who the guru is no longer there, coming in front of you and talking to you. All this, there is no shastric basis for that. So that is the adhisthana, the physical body. Then karta. So karta is what? Karta has the Vijnanamaya kosha is actually the karta, because the thought that I am the karta, it is there in Vijnanamaya kosha. So in the form of the upadi, the one who does the transactions, right? And Shankara says you can think of this as the ahankara, the RC. So where karta, Krishna says karta, but Shankara says add bhokta also. So karta, bhokta, which is actually the RC, the ahankara. Then karanam. So Krishna lives as karanam as karanam, instruments. And Shankara says there are 12. What are they? Anybody? 12 instruments which you have. Very simple.
Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas,
Yes.
that is 10.
And
Mana and Buddhi.
Mana buddhi.
Mana buddhi. Right. So that's 12. Then Indriyas, the manas which desires, and the buddhi which implements. And therefore, this karta can function only with the assistance of the appropriate tools, the appropriate karanams. And each of these karanam, pratak, the functions are different. Eyes, hands, legs, all have different functions. And vividha cheshtaha, here again, Shankara says you should read this as prana apana, the different 5 pranas without which the karanams cannot function. So we're talking about sthula shariram, the manomaya koshaha, and the pranamaya koshaha, and the vijnanamaya koshaha. So vividha here has to be taken as the 5 pranas: prana, apana, samana, vyana, udana. And therefore, so far we have covered 3 koshas, 4 koshas: annamaya, pranamaya, manomaya, and vijnanamaya. We have to put them together. These 4 are what is being mentioned over here by Krishna. And Anandamaya kosha is not mentioned. Why? Why is Anandamaya kosha not mentioned by Krishna? It's a nice question. Maranam question. Anybody? Simple answer
करता
actually.
भाव चला जाता है ना उसमें.
He's talking about the causes of action. Anandamaya Kosha.
Correct. Anandamaya kosha is not a cause of action, but remember that when Anandamaya kosha becomes active, 3 of the 4 koshas stop functioning. Only Pranamaya functions. When Anandamaya kosha is activated, it means you are in Sushupti avastha. And that is why it doesn't mention, because it doesn't contribute to any karma at all. In fact, it stops the karma. Then the last one is Daivam. And Daivam here is to be taken as Hiranyagarbha, because every organ has got a presiding deity. And every presiding deities are all finally resting in Hiranyagarbha. So you can take it as Hiranyagarbha. And we know from Tattva Bodha that a part of Hiranyagarbha called Devata Amsham is there for every Indriya. Every Indriya, every Golakam is occupied by Devata Amsha. Thus, for the eye, The presiding deity is Surya. For the mind, it is Chandra. For the hand, it is Indra. All this we have seen in Tattva. So when the physical body dies, all repetition, but no harm in repeating. When the physical body dies, all these Devata Amshams, you know, individual Devatas, they go back to Samashti Devata. And in the next birth, in the next physical body, they come back and occupy the Golakams. Well, the physical body, when the physical body is born. Therefore, no organ can function without the blessings of Brahmaji, Hiranyagarbha. And Hiranyagarbha's blessings are received by us not directly, but through the individual presiding devatas, which we call the Devata Amsha over here. Now let us go to the next mantra. We will chant. Shariravaং manobhiryat
Shariravaং
शरीरवाङ् मनोभिर्यत्
karma prarabhate naraha
karma
कर्म
prarabdhate
प्रारभते
naraha
नरः
न्यायं वा विपरीतं वा
न्यायं वा विपरीतं वा
पञ्चैते तस्य हेतवः
पञ्चैते तस्य हेतवः
So ete pancha hetavaha. So that's hetavaha is plural for hetu. Ete pancha hetavaha. These five are the causes or the hetus. Tasya. Of that. What is that? Yat karma naraha prarabhate. That karma which naraha, the human being, prarabhate, undertakes. So, ete pancha hetavaha tasya yat karma nara prarabhate. These five are the karanams, the causes of any karma which any human being undertakes. Whether it be shariravaং manovihi, with the body, the speech, the tongue, or the mind. And very importantly, nyayam va viparitam va. Whether it is proper or whether it is improper karma, these five are the very causes. Okay. Yat karma prarabhate naraha, whatever karma a jiva does, right? And what is naraha? Very nice definition. Naryate iti naraha. Naryate iti naraha means the one who does not die is a naraha. Right? Not just a not just a male. So we say naraha is male and nari is female. But the definition itself says naryate iti naraha. The one who does not die is a naraha. Neither the male dies nor the female dies. Only the bodies die. Right? Right? So remember that this naraha is jiva, not man or woman. And why does he not die? Because he keeps on being reborn on the basis of karma. Right? And we have to further note that the word naraha is used only for Manushya Jiva. Why? You cannot say that a dog is naraha or a cat is naraha. The word naraha is only used for Manushya Jiva because of the special quality that a Manushya has compared to the other Jivas. What is that?
Free will.
Free will. Right. So you have to understand that naraha is used in the Manushya Janma only. And therefore, all Jivas doing karma, remember that only the human being has the body in which the free will can be manifested. Okay. So the statement I made earlier has to be modified. You cannot say that other beings do not have free will. Because free will resides where? In the physical body or Sukshma Shariram?
The Sukshma Sharira.
Sukshma Free will resides in Sukshma Shariram. Therefore, that free will is there for every Jiva. Only thing, it is the Manushya body, the human body, which enables that free will to be utilized. Free will is there for a dog and a cat also, but he is unable to utilize. Therefore, he is not a Naraha. And what is the corollary? Therefore, because you use free will, there is an intention. And therefore, only in the Manushya body can Punyam and Papa Karma be done, and Punyam and Papa Karma Phalam be generated. And therefore, he says, Yat Karma Prarabhate Naraha, whatever karma this Jiva does, Sharira Vang Manovihi, with body, tongue, or mind. And Shankara adds he adds adjective to karma. He says Tribihi. Tribihi means three types. So that Tribihi has to be, Shankara only adds one word, Tribihi. So we have to analyze. What are the three types of karma?
Kaika, Vachika, Manasika.
Kaika, Vachika, Manasika. Right. So Kaika karma is with your body. Vachika karma is with your tongue, like japa, parayanam, etc. Manasika karma is meditation, or even generally thinking about anything is also manasika karma. And because there is free will involved in the jiva's karma, these three karmas, vachika, manasika, sharira, vachika, manasika, kaika, they can be further divided into two. That he says here, nyayam va viparitam. And Shankara says nyayam means dharmyam shastriyam, which means sanctioned by shastram. Activities which are validated by shastra, which are mandated by dharma. That is shastric karma. And viparitam va, improper adharmika activities. And Shankara here adds a very nice note. Karma also includes involuntary activities like breathing and blinking. Right? These activities, remember, do not involve free will. You don't need free will to breathe. You can, of course, use your free will and stop breathing for some time. But generally, you don't need free will to breathe. You don't need free will to blink also. Therefore, how can you say that all of the humans' activities are because of free will? What is the answer? You are advanced students. You should know the answer by now. Anybody?
The physiological activities are also there in all the animals. So only the actions which involve free will are
Correct. But then when you say that the Manushya Jiva's karma is because of free will, why do you exclude this? Because they are all prarabdha driven. Right? As long as you've got a body, there will be certain things like blinking and breathing and all. Prarabdha karma is there. And he says for such activities also, ete pancha tasyatavaha. Those five alone are the hetus, the cause. Right? Now, look at the last verse again. Adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha pratak vidam vividasha pratak cheshtaha aivam chaivatra panchamam. Are they Atma or Anatma? All these five factors. Are they Atma or Anatma?
Anatma.
They are all Anatma only. Four koshas and Daivam, they are all Anatma only. Atma, of course, is present. Atma is necessarily present. But Atma is Akarta. It does not do any action. And you are that Akarta, Atma. Therefore, I should learn to claim that Akarta, Abhokta, Atma as I am. And I should not identify with my body. It doesn't mean that I am going to neglect the body. There are many yogis who don't bother about the body at all, and they present it as a very great activity, a very great virtue. But you should not neglect the body, because the body is given to you by the Lord. And if you try to, what they call, not take care of the body, if you try to insult that body, it is insulting the Lord Himself. But you should not neglect the body. You should take care of the body, but not be obsessed with it. Keep the body in good condition, but know that you are not the body. So here in this verse, the essence, the tatparyam, is not to understand the karma, right? But to see what are the factors involved in the karma, and to understand that all the factors are anatma, and all these anatma 5 factors are required. But none of these factors, indriyas, manas, buddhi, by themselves are the karta. Even the ahankara alone cannot be the karta, because the other things are required. So none of these factors by itself is karta. It requires the assembly of all these 5 factors. You have to put them together. Then only you are creating a dependency for something else. And therefore that karta is mithya. And you are the Atma, ever free of that kartratva. You don't have any doership in you, but you do lend the life, which causes the 5 factors put together, the ahankara plus the 5 factors, all of them put together, they become a karta bhav. But you, the Atma, are neither karta nor bhav. So this is what we are trying to get out of that particular verse. And just mute you all. Anu, I'll come to you. Just let me finish and then we can see. Then he has given the 5 factors in the last verse as responsible for all karma. And now he says Shariramang Manovihi. Okay, last verse he said 5 factors. Now he says Shariramang Manovihi. The body, the tongue, and the mind are involved in karma. So Shankara says there is no defect in this expression also, because there are only 2 different ways of expressing. Because all karma is what? Either by way of mandate or by way of, all karma is referred to in the Shastram as what? Either by way of mandate or by way of prohibitions, by vidhi or pratishedaha. And all such karma, he says, is predominantly based on 3 things: body, tongue, and manaha. All Vaidika karma is these 3. All Vaidika prohibitions are also based on these 3. Hence, he says the karta is using this body, the tongue, and the mind for all karmas. And Shankara says karma like Shravanam, etc., you should take vak, the tongue, as upalakshanam for all. That means Sharira Vang Manaha should be understood as Sharira Indriya Vang Manaha, all the organs. And then even at the time of reaping the fruits of karma, at the karma phalam time, remember that these 3, Sharira, Vang, and Manaha, are involved in being the bhokta also. And therefore, there is no contradiction between Krishna saying 5 factors in verse number 14 and 3 factors in verse number 15. So this is something which would not have occurred to us. But there is a possible contradiction. Therefore, Shankara clarifies that there is no defect here. Do not say that Krishna said 5 factors in verse 14 and he's giving 3 different factors in verse 15. There is no contradiction at all because of the explanation given. Haji, Anuji, tell me, you were saying something?
Yeah, Acharya ji, I have something to say. I don't know, it's a stupid question maybe. See, a person involved in a crime, he's done it using his free will. But if he acquires jnanam, he can exempt himself that he's only Atma, he's a karta, bhokta.
Yes, that is what Valmiki did. You have actually used 2 contradicting words. Himself is in a different sense, and he acquires jnanam is different sense. the body-mind complex will undergo the prarabdha.
Okay.
Always. The Atma never has any prarabdha.
Thank you.
Acharya ji, there was a story like this where the thief tells the judge, I am Brahman, so you have to, why are you punishing me?
Yeah, yeah.
So then the judge says, okay, I'm punishing Brahman, I'm punishing your Atma, not your body. So you have to go, take your Atma and go. So it was in relation with what Anuji said, that
Yeah, yeah.
where we identify.
That's very interesting explanation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now we look at verse number 16. We will chant. Tatraivam sati kartaram
Tatraivam
Tatraivam sati
कर्तारं
kartaram
atmanam kevalam tu yaha
Atmanam
आत्मानं
kevalam
केवलं
tu
तु यः
yaha
pasyat krita buddhitvat
Pashyat
पश्यत्
krita
कृतबुद्धित्वात्
buddhitvat
nasa pasyati durmatihi.
na
न
sapashyati
पश्यति
Sapashyati
दुर्मतिः
durmatihi
So some books will have pasyat krita buddhitvan. Correct. So that has to be broken up into kriti buddhitvat and sapasyati dharmatihi. So don't get confused. This is pasyati krita buddhitvat na sapasyati dharmatihi.
न स पश्यति
Tatra evam sati. And that is so. What is so? All that we have discussed so far in the previous verse. When that is so, then tu, on the other hand, yaha pasyati, the person who looks upon kevalam atmanam kartaram, the one who thinks that the atma alone is the karta. And why does he think so? Akrita buddhitvat. Akrita buddhi is due to lack of a refined intellect. A person who has not undergone shastric study, person who has not done shravana. So he looks upon the kevalam atmanam as kartaram. Only the atma as a karta. What happens? Na pashyati, he does not see. Sadhurmatihi, he has a faulty vision. He has a distorted vision. So tatra evam satihi, that being so. That being so, what being so? In the context of discussion, that is what? It is the 5 factors of action which are alone the cause for karma, which means it is Atma alone, which is the Karanam for karma. And Sadurmatihi, that person who has a faulty vision, Sadurmatihi is a ignorant person, a mind on whom Ajnanam has been superimposed. Adhyasa is there. Ajnana Adhyasa Yukta Matihi, Sadurmatihi. Person whose mind is got Ajnanam in it. What does it do? Because of that avidya, tatra, on that anatma, tatra eteshu anatmeshu, on that anatma, atmanam anyatvena parikalpate. He sees this atmanam as anyatvena, non-different from himself. He wrongly looks upon the karta, he looks upon himself as a karta. Pasyati kevalam atmanam karta. He says, I am this Atma, but he also says, I am the Karta. So, Kevalam Atmanam Kartaram Pasyati. Remember, Atma is me, myself. Okay. So, he is not looking upon himself as Satchidatma. He is saying, I am the Karta. And that Atma is actually free of Kartrutvam and Bhoktrutvam. This man, this Durmatihi, does not understand. Why? Because Akaratta Buddhitvat, because he has not gone through spiritual teaching assisted by Shastram and Guru, and therefore he has no connection with the Shastra at all. So this is very common today also when people say that, oh, I will study Vedanta when I am retired and nothing else to do, which is actually quite silly because what does Vedanta do? It brings about a new perception of the world, a change in the way I look upon myself and the world. And that because of that, I all the responses are changed. What is a normal response for a person who has not studied Vedanta? Any situation is a problem. In fact, if you see Western movies, the English serials, all of them, whenever they have a problem, what do they say? They call the boss and say, "Sir, we have a situation." So any problem is a situation. But Vedanta says that is wrong. You don't know English. Situations are not avoidable. Problems are avoidable. Right? For example, in Delhi, let us say, in the middle of May, you go out. What happens? The summer is hot. Is that a problem or a situation?
The situation, we make it a problem.
It is a situation.
It's a situation, right? It became a problem. Why? Because you went out without any cover on your head. So similarly, other things. As I grow older, in the morning my joints will pain, my back will pain. Situation arising out of age. When does it become a problem? When I start complaining. What should I be doing? Do whatever I can. And is all result of prarabdha. Understand that the body cannot avoid prarabdha. So therefore, do what you can and deal with the rest. And if you have that outlook, you will find that most of the things we call problems are simply situations. And how do we deal with situations? You have to deal with them to the best of your ability. And if they cannot be dealt with, then you have to accept it. So choiceless situations are there. They have to be accepted. The situations have a choice. You can use your free will and try to mitigate that. If you can't mitigate, then you accept. And therefore, akritta buddhitvat na pashyati. He does not recognize the fact because he has not got a shastric background. You remember Ajagovindam, there is one beautiful line. Pashyannapi chan pashyati modaha. Pashyannapi chana pashyati modaha. His eyes are open, but he still does not see. And Mundaka, if you remember, avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha panditam manyamana. In his arrogance, he thinks he's a pandita. That arrogance has not allowed him to come to a guru because he thinks nobody can know more than him. And not only that, he says he's a pandita and he drags everybody also into ignorance. And such a person is called Durmatihi. Shankara says Dushtamatihi. A person who is Durmatihi is a Dushtamatihi, deluded intellect. And Shankara, of course, gives further definitions. Who is a Durmatihi? So a mind which is Kutsita. Kutsita means inferior mind. That is number one. Not only is an inferior mind, because he has not refined it through Shastram, it has got Viparita. It has got ideas which are contradictory to Shastra. Because he doesn't know, he thinks whatever his mind, dreams up is true. So Kutsita, inferior mind, Viparita, contradictory ideas in his mind, and this kind of a mind is the cause of endless birth and death, which is samsara. What is the consequence of having such a mind? Sapashyanapi na pashyati. Even though his eyes are open and he actually sees, he does not really see. And Shankara gives 3 examples. He says, Yatha taimirikaha anekam chandram. Just as a man with a cataract sees multiple number of moons. That's the first example. Then he says, Yatha abreshu dhavatsu chandram dhavantam. The movement of Abraha, the cloud. Abreshu dhavatsu. The clouds are running, moving fast. But because of misunderstanding, Chandram dhavantam, you take it as the fast movement of the moon. And this you can see very nicely on a clear night when there are a lot of clouds moving fast, a lot of wind is there. You think the moon is moving fast through the sky, but it is not. It is only the cloud which moves. Because the earth doesn't spin any faster. It's the same speed. Okay. Yatava, Yathava, Vahane Upavishtaha. And he says, this we all know. When somebody is sitting in a Vahanam, in a vehicle, Anyeshu Dhavatsu Atmanam Dhavat. The movement of other people outside the vehicle is taken as our own movement. And this is very clearly understood if you take the example of the train. Supposing you are lying down on the lower berth of the train, right? You are lying close to eyes, not close to eyes, eyes are open, you're lying down, and there's a train on the next track. And that next train begins to move. What do you feel?
That we are moving.
We are
are
also
moving.
moving.
So that movement of the next train has been transferred to you. So that is also a mistake. And here, of course, in his commentary, Madhusudana Saraswati adds a very nice note. He says that this verses 13 to 16 should be taken as an explanation of what Anishtham Mishtham Mishram Cha Trividam Karmana Phalam. You take these three as an explanation of that, and that will be fine. And if you look at it, you will say that all this will fall under these three also. Okay. Now, he goes to the next verse, which is explanation of tu sannyasina kvachit anishtham mishtham mishram cha trividam karmana phalam bhavati tyaginam pretya tu sannyasina kvachit. He says that explanation will also come. So note that the way that the durmatihi, the deluded intellect, perceives has been discussed. And Shankara says that the next verse tells you what the sumatihi is. Sumati means what? Opposite of durmati, the one who has a refined intellect. And that is why Madhusudana says it's an explanation of Natu Sannyasina Kvachit. So we look at verse number 17, the next one. We'll chant. Yasya nahankrito bhavaha
Yasya naham krito bhavaha
buddhiryasya na lipyate
buddhiryasya na lipyate
hatvapi sa imam lokan
hatvapi sa imam lokan
nahanti na nibhadyate.
nahanti na nibhadyate.
Okay. So, yasya na bhangrataha bhav. So, the one who does not have the kartatva, one who does not think that he is a doer, and because of that, yasya buddhi na lipyate, whose intellect has not been affected by that doership notion, saha, that person, iman lokan api hatva, having killed everybody in this world, nahanti na nibhadyate, such a person does not kill, nahanti na nibhadyate, nor is he bound. Very, very important shloka. It's the very essence of jnana. And Shankara gives a very elaborate commentary, which we are not going into. But a few ideas from that commentary I'll present. He says, yasya, the word yasya in this particular verse, you should take it as that person who, because of the refinement, that is mind alone, because of the influence of Shastram and Acharya and Tarka, who has gone to Acharya, who has done Shravanam and Mananam using logic, using Tarka, and therefore he has got a refined mind. So Shastra Acharya Upadesha means Shravanam, And nyaya means the use of supporting logic. Supporting logic, right? Because we always talk about logic which supports Shastra. So yasya means that person who has got a refined mind because of having been exposed to Shastra and because of having had an appropriate guru. Then, na ahankrita bhavaha, the next part. He says the one who does not have the idea that I am a karta. Aham karta iti eva lakshano na bhavati, he says. Person whose mind does not have the idea that I am a karta, does not entertain the idea that I am a karta. Why? Because he knows that the five factors of action are superimposed on the Atma through ajnana. And those five factors alone are the cause of karma. And he is the Atma. Five factors are only adhyasa. And therefore, he knows that I am not the karta. So remember that what is the connecting factor which makes you, the Atma, think you are the karta? That is avidya only. Right? If the avidya is not there, what will happen? I will know that I am only the sakshi for all these transactions. I will know that gunaha guneshu vartante. We said earlier, the gunas, which are the sense organs, interact with the gunas, which are the sense objects. And I know that I am not a karta, I am not a bhokta. And therefore, I will neither have guilt nor I will have hurt. It is always the karta who feels guilty. It is always the bhokta who is hurt. And the wise person who knows that he is neither karta nor bhokta is free from guilt and free from hurt. And therefore, remember that freedom from hurt and guilt. When you see someone like that, he is a very accomplished jnani. A person who doesn't feel guilty, a person who doesn't get hurt. And Shankara here quotes a Shruti for our benefit. He says, Aprano hyam manaha shubhro yaksharat paratah paraha. Which Upanishad we have done it. Aprano hyam manaha shubhro hi aksharat paratah paraha. Free from prana, free from mind, and therefore Shubhraha, always pure, Aksharat Paratah Paraha, beyond Avyakta Maya. So Mundaka Upanishad, yes.
Yes.
He is the very Adhishthanam for the Maya. I am the very Adhishthanam for the Maya. And I should view the world as a movie. And to use what SPG said once, very nice phrase. See the movie, but don't get moved by the movie, he said. Very beautiful phrase of turn of phrase. See the world as a movie, but don't get moved by the movie. And therefore only, yasya buddhina lipyate. His intellect is not touched, not stained, not tainted by what? Hurt or guilt, regret or remorse. And he does not say, why did I not do good deeds? This also we have seen. Kim aham sadhuna karavam. Why did I not do good karma? Kim aham papam karvamiti. Why did I commit papam? He is free from such regrets. And therefore, etam vavan tapati. Such thoughts do not torment him at all. This person is free from guilt and regret. Why? Guilt and repentance and regret are only for the persons who look upon themselves as karta. If you are akarta, you have not done anything. Where is the question of regret? Nothing has been done to you. Where is the question of hurt? Therefore, yasya buddhina lipyate. The one who is able to see all this, to have this vision, he is the person buddhihi na lipyate, where the buddhi has not been tainted at all. A very clear mind is there. The next line is very important. And actually, this next line is the pramanam for the idea we saw in Tattvabodha, that the jnani does not have agami karma. We saw that, right? So hatva api, say iman lokan, sarvan, hatva api, iman lokan. Even if he kills every jiva on this planet, right? He is not a karta. Right? What is the logic? Why does he use the word killing? Because killing is the most evil of all karmas. And if you use the word killing, in fact, that is the idea used in the whole Gita. If you use the word killing for any karma, you are dealing with all sort of karma, including the most evil ones. So this is actually there's a nyaya for this in Sanskrit. Anybody knows? We have talked about this nyaya before.
Prathama Malla Nyaya.
Prathama Malla nyaya. Would you like to explain?
When we have to compete with opposition, so we have to compete the best of that field. That considered as we.
Excellent. If you want to become world champion boxer, you don't need to fight every boxer in the world. You need to fight only the current world champion. Okay. And you have to note the context. Arjuna is standing on the battlefield. What is Arjuna seeing? The Kauravas. So in Arjuna's context, Krishna is telling him that, hey Arjuna, even if you kill all these Kauravas who are your very, brothers, cousin brothers, nahanti, you don't perform any action of killing because you are the Atma. Atma can never perform any action. Na nibadhyate. And because of that non-performance of any action, you cannot incur any papa. This, of course, is for jnani only. Therefore, yasya buddhi nalapyate. The one who is able to see this whole idea, he will not mistake the Atma for karta. It's only the ajnani who will mistake the Atma himself for karta. And therefore, he seemingly acquires kartrutvam. Does the ajnani really have kartrutvam? No. Right? And for that, you have to go back to the Rajju Sarpa example. When the rope is mistaken for a snake, does it remain a snake or does it become a rope? Does it remain a rope or does it become a snake?
It remains a rope.
It remains a snake. So the effect of the false snake, which the seer feels, all the fear and the panic, those effects are also mithya because they are dependent on what? On the mistaken idea that I am seeing the snake. The rope snake cannot be removed because there is no snake. To remove the rope snake, what do you need to do? You remove the mistake that this is a snake. When the error is removed, the snake which is born from the error also goes away. There is no physical way of removing the rope snake. You can remove the rope, not the rope snake. Right? When physically you cannot remove the snake, but you can intellectually remove the error. When the error goes, the snake also goes. And here Shankara brings in a Purva Pakshi. He says, Hanti api na hanyate. You are making these two contradictory statements. Hanti, he kills. Api, even when he kills, na hanyate, he does not kill. The Purva Pakshi says, hey Shankara, how can you make this statement? They are both so contradictory. And Shankara says, no, they are not contradictory because from the Vyavaharika viewpoint, from the viewpoint of the transactional world, which is what? Which is the viewpoint of Ahankara. From Ahankara, from the RC's point of view, the killing is a fact or not? It is a fact. But from the Paramarthika viewpoint, what is the idea? Everything is Brahman. Brahman cannot be killed. Therefore, there is no killing. There is no bondage. Therefore, there is no killer and there is no killed, which is what Krishna told Arjuna in the very second chapter itself. But Arjuna has not understood. And therefore, Shankara says, therefore, both statements are okay. Then Purvapakshi says, no, wait, I have not finished. You said, Atmanam kartaram pasyati sa pasyati durmatihi. You said, whoever thinks that Atma is karta is durmatihi, ajnani. Which means what? The correct vision is that Atma is akarta. But you have taken the words very selectively. You can't do that. What is Krishna's actual sentence? He says, hey Shankara, look at Krishna's actual sentence. What is that? Kevalam Atmanam Kartaram Pasyati Sapasyati Durmati. Right? So you have conveniently dropped the adjective Kevalam. What is Kevalam? So in Sanskrit, the usage in such a usage is called a Vyavartaka Visheshanam. Vyavartaka means to exclude. Therefore, it's a excluding adjective. Right? So let me give an example. There are, for example, let us say, different books on my table, different colored books. And I say, please bring the red book. The term red here is being used as Vyavartaka Visheshan. How? By use the term red, I am excluding all the books which are not red. So this is what Purvapakshi is saying. He says what Krishna means is that Atma by itself and Kevalam means Atma by itself, which means excluding the other five factors. Adhishthanam, Karta, Karanam, Cheshtha and Daivam. If you exclude the five factors, which is what Krishna means when he says Kevalam Atma. So Kevalam Atma is not a Karta, but Atma taken along with the five is definitely a Karta. And this is the correct interpretation, says the Purvapakshi. What is the answer? What answer will you give
There-
that? So,
No connection between the others and Atma.
why?
Atma and Atma, there is actually no connection at all.
No, why? This is Purvapakshi statement that Atma gets connected with these five and therefore becomes a Karma.
Adhyasa, superimposition.
No, Atma is Asangaha. It cannot be connected to anything.
Right.
So where is the question of it being connected? So Shankara says, no, your statement is not correct because, and he quotes, Avikaryo ayamuchyate, avikaryam, prakriti kriyamanani gunaihi, karmani sarvashaha. Only gunas can do the karma. Atma is akarta. Sharirasthopi na karoti. Atma does not do anything, even though it is sharirasthapi. Sharirasthapi, even though it is situated in the body, it doesn't do anything. It is asangaha. So this is Smriti Pramanam. He also gives Shruti Pramanam, which we have not seen before. He says Dhyayativa Lelayativa from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So he says, there it says that even though he is not, he is actually, the RC is doing karma. Atma is not doing anything. He says, Shruti is saying that Jivatma appears as if it is knowing and as if it is doing karma. But the eva, Dhyayativa, Lelayati eva, the eva actually means it appears to do so, but really does not do so at all. So Shankara does a very exhaustive commentary. He gives Smriti Pramanam he has given, Shruti Pramanam he has given, and he gives Nyaya Pramanam also, logic also. He says Atma is niravayavam. It means what? Avayavam is a part. He says Atma is niravayavam, has no parts, no hands, no legs, no sense organs. Where is the question of it doing any action? And he says Atma is not paratantraha, is not dependent upon anything else. That means Atma cannot do action and Atma cannot be made to do action also. And Atma is avikriyam, cannot undergo any change at all. What cannot undergo change cannot do any action. So these are three arguments gives. He gives a fourth argument, which is Abhyupetyavada. Abhyupetyavada is a suppositional argument, an argument supposing something. So he says, okay, you are saying that Atma performs actions. So let us suppose that Atma is capable of performing actions along with the other five factors. What are they? Adhishthanam, Karta, Karanam, Cheshta, and Devam. Then going by the law of karma, Karta eva bhakta. The karma phalam of the five factors which are anatma, can they accrue to Atma? No, because karta alone can have the bhakta. And the five factors here are the karta. Whatever karma phalam belongs to those five factors, they cannot possibly accrue to Atma. But it is possible that you do adhyasa, you do a superimposition and transfer that Atma. So this you have to connect to Hanti Apina Hanti. Even if Atma appears to kill, it does not really kill. Right? And Vedanta tells us what? That Atma is Sarvagatam. You are Sarvagatam, all pervading. You have no location anywhere. So Vedanta will not remove the experience that you have that I am located in this place. That experience does not belong to the Atma. When I say I am in this house, I am in this room, I am in this chair, that I is your body only. Right? That experience will be that I am here. But Vedanta tells you what? You have no location, you are everywhere. So a very important idea is being conveyed. Experience-based conclusions are all duality alone, Advaitam alone. Jnanam-based conclusion alone is Advaita. Okay. So this much he has said. Now do you remember the six factors, six indicators for arriving at the Tatparimani text? I will just chant it out for you. Upakrama upasamharo, abhyaso purvataphalam, अर्थवादोपपत्तिः च लिंगम तात्पर्य निर्णये. उपक्रमः उपसंहारः अभ्यासः अपूर्वतः फलम् अर्थवादः उपपत्तिः. These six are the lingams, the indicators, tatparya nirnaye, for determining the essential teaching of anything. And Shankara says, I will show you, using these six factors, what is the essential teaching of Bhagavad Gita, right? So, Nayam Hantina Hanyate. He says this is the Pratignya Vakyam, the Upakramaha, the opening summary. So, this second chapter verse, 19th verse, second chapter, it tells us what Krishna is proposing, the Pratignya Vakyam, right? Like the opening speech of a debater. He first tells what he's going to tell you. So there is a rule of public speaking. First, tell them what you're going to tell them. Then tell them what you're telling them. And lastly, tell them what you have told them. It's like headlines, opening headlines, the content, closing headlines. So, Nayam Hantin Hanyate, you cannot be killed, nor can you kill. Why? The logic is given in the very next verse. Na jayate. You are free from the six vikaras. This is the explanation. And abhyasa is there. There's a repetition. Veda vinashanam nityam, chayanam ajam avyayam. Katham sapurusha partha, kam ghatayati hantikam. There is a repetition. Avinashanam means nahanyate. You cannot be killed. And then the conclusion is there. Nigamanam. Katham sapurusha partha, kam ghatayati hantikam. The opening statement, the logic, the abhyasa, the conclusion, everything is there. So the kartrutvam of a jnani is negated, which means he can do no karma, he cannot kill also. And Shankara concludes by saying that, therefore, the jnani does not have the adhikaritvam, He is not even eligible to do Vaidika karma. Very important point. The Jnani, because of his Jnanam, the moment you get Jnanam, you become ineligible to do Vaidika karma, which means that when you do the karma, the Adrishta Punyam will not be generated. Because as a Jnani, I don't think I am a Karta. And therefore, even if I do the ritual for the benefit of others, if I do the homam or the puja, I am not generating any Adrishta Punyam at all. Okay? For a Jnani, the three phalams, Trivida Karmana phalam, which is what? Nishtham, Ishtham, Mishram. They don't appear at all. They don't accrue at all to the Jnani. But they will definitely accrue to the Ajnani. This is the essence of the teaching, says Shankara. Understand that Jnani cannot do karma, therefore cannot generate punyam or papam. Ajnani takes himself as karta, therefore every action generates punyam and papam. Okay, so with this, we'll stop for today. Any questions?
Sir, I didn't understand the relevance of Prathama Marana Nyaya to the verse. You said world champion. To become a world champion, you need to fight the present champ. But how does it apply?
Let me leave this as a one question for you all in the group. Whoever knows the answer, you can put.
Okay.
If you don't know the answer, I will put them at the same.
Vinita, Acharyaji used the word Hanti in the verse to explain that he used that.
Okay. Okay.
Because Hanti is the worst action ever which you can understand.
But why Prathama Marana?
Marana is
It's not Maranam, it is Malla.
That's what I got wrong, sir. Acharyaji, say again, please. Prathama?
Malla Nyaya. Malla is the boxer.
Boxer.
Okay, now I got it. I took it down as Marana. Oh, okay, thank you, Rituji, thank you, Acharya.
Okay.
Okay. Namaste.
Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much.